Hello everyone. First of all, big thanks for all the positive comments and all the encouragement that you've been giving for the videos that I've been posting on share market. For those of you who've been following me, you'll know that I've been posting share market beginner videos. Like for someone who's never done trading before, I've been posting some encouraging videos about how you can do trading as a beginner in UK and in general as well. Just explaining the basics about share market. And in my videos, I had mentioned a few of the apps, a few of the trading platforms like Freetrade, Trading212, Hargreaves and Lansdown. And a lot of people have been asking me which one is the best. And I'm going to try and do a personal comparison based on my usage, based on my experiences, and based on what I've seen as the differences. I've compared a comparison chart between the three. And I'm going to use this as an example to show you what I feel is the difference and what my recommendation is between the three. This is not a paid endorsement. This is not a paid video. I'm not brand endorsing any of these apps. Whatever I'm recommending, whatever I'm suggesting is based on entirely my personal experiences. The comparison is based on entirely my personal experiences, having used all of these three apps in my house. One point before we start is that in the Tamil video that I made about 2-3 weeks back, I mentioned a share called GGP, which was doing at 7 pence at that point. And last week, I think when I did the English version of it, it was around 9 pence roughly, about 20 to 30% jump. Today it is sitting at around 11 pence, which is roughly around 50% jump from the 7 pence that we had talked about it originally. So it's done phenomenally. If you had put, for example, 200 pounds in GGP, Great Line Gold, it'd probably be giving you a return of about 300 pounds, about 100 pounds more than what you have invested. So 50%, or more than 50% return of investment in a span of 2 to 3 weeks. This is the kind of examples that I wanted to give. Again, you have to do your own research. Like whatever I'm saying, this is just for your understanding, and you need to go back and do your own research. So let's go and look into the comparison. So for those of you who are in UK, you'll know that I've been explaining about ISA, where it's a tax-free investment. Whatever money that you invest inside a stock and share ISA, individual savings account, you're not going to have to pay any tax, or you're not having to even declare tax to the government or declare capital gains to the government. That's what an ISA is. And it's only available in UK as far as I know. But all of these three platforms, Trading212, Freetrade and Hargreaves and Lansdown, all of these three platforms support an ISA option. You are also able to do a trading outside of ISA if you want in UK. But my advice is, if you are in UK, take the ISA option, because you don't have to even declare it to the HMRC, the tax department, because that's what the rules say for ISA. Even if you make £1 million out of it, eventually you don't have to pay even a penny of tax if you're using it in the ISA option. What are the countries that are available in? So like I said, Freetrade is available only in US and UK at this point. Although they have a European license, they're trying to move out of UK into the European market. They're still not there yet. Trading212 is available in US and UK, and is also available in 5 or 6 major European countries like Germany, France, Netherlands, Spain, and Switzerland. And they are also, I think, trying to expand into the other European markets. Hargreaves and Lansdown is pretty much available in entire Europe as far as I know, and is also available commonly in US and UK. What's the running monthly cost? Now this is a little bit tricky, so we need to try and do a bit of an apple to apple comparison. Trading212, obviously there's no visible monthly cost. There's nothing that you need to commit to. Even if you go for the ISA option, there is no running cost. There is no portfolio charges. Like even if you have like 10,000 pounds of portfolio of shares in your account, you're still not paying anything for it. So there's absolutely zero monthly cost, which means Trading212 is a clear winner here. Freetrade, if you go for the normal account, the non-ISA account is again no cost for you. But if you're in UK and you go for the ISA option, then there is a £3 per month running cost. Again, you need to pay it separately. So there is a £3 per month running cost. Hargreaves and Lansdown, they don't have a monthly charge for your ISA like your Freetrade. They don't have a fixed price. But I've said it's £0 per month, but there is a 0.45% of your portfolio. So for example, if you have, let's say, 100 pounds, there's a 45 pence is going to be taken out of your account as a portfolio charges. And this 0.45% will vary depending upon what is the value of your portfolio at that point or in that month. So Again, this is a variable charge, and it depends on whether you're going to trade or not. So if you have 100 pounds, you'll be having a different amount. If you have 1,000 pounds, you'll be having a different amount, obviously. So what's the cost per trade? Trading 212, again, there is no cost per trade, £0. Freetrade, obviously, as the name suggests, it's commission free. There is no commission for either of them. Obviously, if the share has a stamp duty in UK, you will pay a stamp duty, but that's common across all share trading platforms. From a share commission perspective, there is no commission for both of these platforms. Hargreaves and Lansdown, the first 10 trades you make in a year, you pay £11.95, almost £12. And the next 10 trades that you make in a year, you pay £9.95, nearly £10. After you made 20 trades in a financial year, your trading cost or your per trade cost is around £5.95, around £6. So again, trading 212 on Freetrade are clear winners here. So at this point, if you just stop and ask, why even bother? Hargreaves and Lansdown seems to be really expensive. I would just go with trading 212 on Freetrade. This is why it is important to go through the further comparison, because this is exactly what I thought when I started using Hargreaves and Lansdown, and then when I switched to, or when I tried to switch to Freetrade and trading 212, I was like thinking it's a no-brainer. Obviously, Freetrade and trading 212 has already beaten Hargreaves and Lansdown with regards to the trading cost, because there's no way that anyone would in the right minds would use Hargreaves and Lansdown. It's exactly what I thought, and I changed my mind. So what happened? So the first thing is obviously the availability of shares. Trading 212 and Freetrade do not have all of the shares in the market. They have a very selected, restricted list of shares. Trading 212, obviously, in their website, in their app, it says that they have about 2,500 plus apps. Freetrade has got about more than 1,000 shares. Sorry, we're talking about the number of shares available. Like, for example, Apple and Google. Hargreaves and Lansdown is full market. No, so there's an example. As an example, right? Let's take penny shares, for example. Trading 212 has got very limited penny shares. The example that we talked about, most of them are not there in Trading 212. Freetrade is slightly better than Trading 212. It's got a decent selection of penny shares. So penny share is basically anything less than £1 or £1 or £2 basically. So it's a cheaper share. Apple and Google, like for example, Google is like about $1,000. If you even want to buy one share, it's about $1,000. Even though Trading 212 and Freetrade offer you to buy fractional shares, which means that you could buy less than one share, it's still one share's value is around $1,000. So there is a room for a bigger fall. There's a room for a bigger risk as well, because the value is very, very high. Like for example, GE, General Electric, the share price was around $35 and not more than 2-3 years back, and it fell to nearly about $5-6. So even a huge conglomerate like GE, General Electric, could have a major fall. Finabler, we talked about it. 95% of the forex trading income was wiped off. So the share value nearly collapsed, completely collapsed in one of the examples I had given. So anything that is about $20-30, there is an element of risk involved. So when we talked about the introduction, we talked about penny shares, which are like less than £1, less than £2, which is like the risk is lower associated with it, and there is room for growth depending on the market capital of the company. So which is what penny share is, and Trading 212 and Freetrade seem to be lacking in this. And whether or not they're adding new shares, new stock options, I'm not very sure about Trading 212. I haven't seen in the last few months that I've seen it, that there is a explicit addition of shares being added to it. Freetrade, there's probably more frequent. Last week, for example, they added 500 new US shares. Hargreaves and Lansdown obviously don't have to do it. They have all of the shares available. So anything that is listed on the London Stock Exchange or the New York Stock Exchange, you are able to buy it. So as an example, right? So again, one more thing is when Trading 212 says that they have 2,500 stocks, it is comprising of many of the European stocks as well. So if you take just the UK stocks alone and do an apple-to-apple comparison, Freetrade probably has got more UK stocks than Trading 212. And one of the examples is these are some of the London Stock Exchange companies. For example, GGP is there in all of the 3 platforms. That's probably the only one that I found in all of the 3 platforms, the penny stocks. MVR is a virtual reality company. It used to be called as EVRH. And that's there in Freetrade. Obviously, it's there in Hargreaves and Lansdown. It's not there in Trading 212. Sound Energy is again one of the penny shares which has seen recent increases. It's not there in Trading 212. It is there in Freetrade. Obviously, the biopharmacy stocks that we talked about and some of the stocks that we mentioned in my other share video, AVCT, Avacta, NCYT, Nova CYT, Tiziana Life Sciences, Mobile Streams, MOS, none of these are there in Trading 212 or Freetrade. So these were some of the penny stocks which has had significant movement. Like NCYT had jumped from 15 pence to nearly about 3 pence to 3 pounds today, nearly about 1,000% increase, I would say, more than 1,000% increase. Those kind of shares, AVCT for example, was like 40 pence in not more than 2 months back, and it's now about £1.60. So these shares, which had a lot of possibility for growth, and it was quite evident when you do your research, unfortunately, you will not be able to buy it in Freetrade or in your Trading 212. So again, you spend all your energy doing your research and find a company, and unfortunately, if it's not existing, even though you've done all the research, you know that the company is going to do well, you will not be able to buy it in either Trading 212 or Freetrade. And when you're a small time trader, when you're not trading very frequently, when you're a small time trader, you're only buying like 3 or 4 shares, and you really want them to succeed, it is very important that is available in the platform that you're buying. In Hargreaves and Lansdown, it was available. So for example, like I said in GGP's case, right? So you put £200 and you know that it will go up, and now like in 2 weeks, it's up by about £100. So even if you compare it against the trading fees, you've already significantly made enough profit that once you start investing about £200 or £250, the fees at that point start to diminish or start to make no sense. It's irrelevant at that point. Let's look at the bank transfer options. So in both Trading 212 and Freetrade, there is an Apple Pay, and obviously I think there is a Google Pay option as well. Apple Pay I didn't try the Google Pay, but I heard that it is available. Apple Pay was an instant top up in both Trading 212 and Freetrade. I'll give you an example. I'm going to give examples and a demo of all of the 3 apps once I finish the comparison. So in both Trading 212 and Freetrade, click off a button. As soon as you sign up, you're able to instantly top up using Apple Pay. Hargreaves and Lansdown, there is no Apple Pay option. On the other hand, there is a limit to the Apple Pay amount. Like I think it's a lifetime limit of about £1,000. But if you want to do a normal money top up, I think for Trading 212 and Freetrade, there is a generic bank transfer option where you need to give a reference and then you need to transfer it to a generic bank account. There is a card payment option for Trading 212 as well. I haven't used it. Hargreaves and Lansdown, there is a card payment option, so you can use your debit card to make a payment, and it's immediate payment, and you can top up immediately using your card payment. But there is no Apple Pay option for Hargreaves and Lansdown that I saw. Withdrawing of money, I think, is very similar, so we're not going to go into a deeper comparison. It's a bank transfer option. Mobile app, this is where one of the big differences that I saw in terms of the look and feel, in terms of the ease of use. Trading 212 is really clumsy. I mean, you will see some of the examples when I show you how to buy and sell a share. And in fact, the process of buying and selling on the mobile app kind of go hand in hand. But the UI is really clumsy. It is difficult to search. It is difficult to scroll through shares and find what the cost of the share is. And it takes time to get used to the app itself. Takes time to get used to the user interface itself. Freetrade is probably extremely good looking. It's easy to operate. But again, it's lacking certain features. Like for example, I didn't see an easier option to do an automatic trading, for example, like if the price goes below or above a certain price point. Hargreaves and Lansdown is a very simple UI and very easy to operate. It's probably got all of the options that are available, and it's probably more cleaner in terms of the other 2 apps. Buying and selling process, again, this is where probably Freetrade and Trading 212 are making money. The spread is bigger in Trading 212 and Freetrade. So spread is basically, you'll be quoted one price for selling and you'll be quoted another price for buying. And there will be a difference. So for example, if a share is like £1, the selling price will be like 98 pence. You will not get the £1. So if the share is showing £1 in Google or in all of the share price apps in the web, when you try to sell it, you will get about 98 pence. When you try to buy it, though, you will probably be buy it with £1 2 pence. Like it will be £2 higher when you try to buy it, be 2 pence lesser when you try to sell it. That's the spread. The spread is probably a little bit thinner in Hargreaves and Lansdown, and probably a little bit more in Freetrade and Trading 212. But it's very difficult to compare. The reason is, in Hargreaves and Lansdown, when you try to buy or sell, it gives you a very clear 15-second quote to say this is the price that you're going to sell, this is the price that you're going to buy. And that 15-second quote, if you try and purchase it within the 15-second quote, you get it at that cost. Most of the time you get it at that cost. If for some reason the volume that you're trying to buy, like if you're trying to buy like 10,000 shares, 20,000 shares, and if the volume of shares is not available in the market, it will tell you immediately that you're not able to buy it. But again, you will see it in the demo when I show you this. Trading 212 and Freetrade do not clearly state what is the exact price that you're going to either buy it or sell it. They give you an indicative price. It is not a confirmed quote. And this spread seems to be a little bit higher than Hargreaves and Lansdown when I tried to buy the same share in both the platforms. And sometimes it is showing you a different price when it is giving you the first screen or giving you the rough quote. But when you actually click on the buy button in either Freetrade or Trading 212, it could end up, you could end up, like for example, selling the share for 1 or 2 pence lesser than what you thought. Even like the example that I said, instead of £1, it was showing 98 pence. You could end up selling it for 97 pence or 96 pence because it has moved in the 2-3 seconds that you were trying to move it, and it didn't freeze the price at that point of time. Same way for buying. So I think this is a very tricky option for newcomers. So you will see it better in the examples. So let's look at some of the examples. We'll start with HNL, Hargreaves and Lansdown. We'll see a share buying and a selling example, and then we'll start to compare it with the other apps. So here you can look at a share, and when you click on buy or sell a share, I'm going to try and sell a share here. So when you click on sell a share and click on get quote, it gives you a 15-second quote, and the timer keeps running, at any point of which if you click on the complete button, the transaction is placed and immediately you get exactly the same quote or same price that was quoted. And the next minute that money is available for you to invest and use or withdraw or invest in another share. So I'm going to try and buy a share now and show you another example. So when I click on, this is a Braveheart investment group, BRH, that I click on £300, I can enter any amount and click on get quote. Again, it gives me a 15-second quote with the exact price and how many shares I can buy and what is the fees. Like I said, it's $5.95 because about 20 pence. When I click on complete transaction, immediately the deal is placed, and I'm showing me that I bought these shares and whatever price that I bought it, and it's there in my account. Let's look at the same example from Freetrade perspective. So in Freetrade, let's see the bank transfer money addition example. So to top up or to add money, when you click on top up, and it gives you an Apple Pay and a bank transfer option. So if you choose the bank transfer option, I'm going to show you the bank transfer in this and the Apple Pay in the Trading 212. So in the bank transfer, they're saying that it will take like 4 to 5 hours or probably even more. For me, it took lesser, but they give you a generic bank account. Probably all of you will get the generic bank account. The only difference is the reference number that you use. So all the money is going into a generic Freetrade bank account and Freetrade bank account. So after about 40 minutes, I got my top up, and I didn't know whether it was going to happen within 1 hour or not. But after 40 minutes, it showed me the £50 top up I did. But once the top up came, I was able to immediately buy a share. Again, here it's tentatively giving me how many shares I can purchase. It doesn't show me a buy price or a sell price. It doesn't show me the actual spread. It is at this point tentative, and when I click on buy, it takes, but it's showing you everything on screen, that it is processing, that it's sending the order. Once it completes, you know that the transaction is happening on screen, and you can wait to see that it completes. It takes about 7 to 8 seconds. And once it completes, at that point it tells you how many shares it was able to buy, and sometimes this is different from what it could quote. Trading 212, when you actually select the option, you select Trading 212 ISA if you're in UK. The other ones are normal trading options, like Trading 212 stock option if you're outside UK, for example. And once your account is activated, I show the account creation process in another video, in my previous video. Once the account is created, the next minute you are able to fund your account using Apple Pay. So I'm going to show an Apple Pay example. So there's a slider button. It's not, most of the cases there's no data entry, or it's not visible, it's hidden. I'm going to try and use a £50 option and change the credit or debit card to Apple Pay option. So I'm selecting Apple Pay from here. The bank transfer option is exactly similar to Freetrade. So when I select the Apple Pay and I authenticate my Apple Pay using my double click, the amount is immediately topped up and amount is available in Trading212 immediately to use in the platform. But again, selecting a share is a little bit cumbersome. You probably don't have the same look and feel of Freetrade or for HNL. You probably need to go and search for a particular share. Like for example, if I want to search a penny share, I can't easily browse through the shares and see which is a penny share or see what is the price of the shares. But I can always search for a share if I know what the share is that I'm going to buy. So in this case, I'm going to search for the example that we talked about in the previous case, GGP Greatland Gold, and we're going to try and buy a share using the search option. And I'll show you how the buying process looks a little bit different. Again, when you click on stocks, if you click on that stock button, it will show you that across what countries, what stocks are available. So I'm searching Greatland Gold and I'm clicking on, and it's showing me an indicative price at this point. The spread again is a little bit different to the same price that if you see it in HNL or if you see it in a different app. So it's quoting me 9.41. Once I click on buy, it is giving me a different option. Here I'm not able to easily enter, like for example, I have 50 pounds and I want to buy 50 pounds worth of shares. It's not very easy. It's asking me to enter the number of shares, and I need to tentatively pull down the slider left and right to see how I can bring it to the under 50 pound amount or to the amount that I have in my hand. So it is a little bit tricky and a little bit clumsy to use. Obviously, it could have been a lot more user friendlier. But once I have selected an amount under 50 pounds, 47 pounds, and I click on buy, there is no indication whether a buy is happening here or not. Like for about 3 or 4 seconds, the screen is just blanking out, and only after that I get the confirmation, yes, it is bought or is completed, transaction is completed. Now if I go here, now it shows me my portfolio is worth about 46.25. So it is bought it at a higher price because the spread is lower. It is showing it. This happens in most apps, but again, that's the point when I realize what is the actual price that it has bought it for. Another comparison, Freetrade, I'm able to buy like 1 share or 2 shares, even if it's 14 pence or less than 1 pound, less than 2 pounds, whatever number of shares. I'm able to buy it for whatever smaller quantity. Here in Trading212, I'm trying to buy 3 shares for like amount, but this change. So in this example, it said the minimum shares I need to buy is like 18. So obviously they have a minimum threshold in Trading212, which is not there in the other apps. That is not comparable for HNL, but HNL obviously, because the fees is there, you won't buy like 1 or 2 shares in a penny share. In HNL, when you try to buy a share and if quote is not available, it will clearly tell you that quote is not available, that it can't give you a price, it can't tell you that there is a share available at that point of time. So in conclusion, Trading212 is good if you are a beginner and you're not going to explore it too much. You just want to buy like 1 or 2 shares and really want to see if I'm able to do it or not. And if you think it's not your cup of tea, you just want to have a sense of it. There's no recurring monthly cost. There is no fees involved. You can buy like 10, 20 pounds worth of shares or just 50 pounds worth of shares and just sit back and wait and see how it works. Trading212 is really great for that. It's a good start. They also give you a free option where you can play with dummy cash and you can play with share and buying and selling options. If you're a little bit serious about it, and if you think you're going to do like maybe about 5 to 10 shares or more than 10 shares, but you're not going to invest very serious amounts, but you're still going to probably put like maybe 200 pounds in the year, but you're probably going to be a little bit more active and maybe check it like once a week or a few times a month. Freetrade is probably a little bit better. The app is better. The availability of stocks is better. Once you do your research, sometimes the stocks are more available on Freetrade as compared to Trading212. But hands down, if you're going to really be serious about it, if you're going to spend, let's say, anywhere above 200, 300 pounds in the financial year, or probably even higher, and if you think that you're going to probably do at least 5 to 6 trades per month, like buying and selling, I'm saying, like you could buy like 3 shares and you can sell like 3 shares. If you're thinking about doing that kind of trading, that kind of volumes, then I think Hargreaves and Lansdown is obviously better. The spread is much better, It's very, very clear and easy to use out of the three. Like I said in the beginning of the video, right? Had anyone told me that Hargreaves and Lansdown with their 1195 starting fees is better than Freetrade or Trading 212, I would have probably said that that's not true, because anything that gives you a free commission is probably going to be better. But nothing is free in this world, right? So let's understand that first. So anything that says it's free obviously comes with something that is a catch, and that's the difference. You know, the difference is all that I've explained to you. And having used all of these three products, my personal preference, even though the cost per buying and selling is different, is higher, Hargreaves and Lansdown for me is the hands down winner in terms of any serious investor, anybody who's trying to actually get into share market, trying to make a bit of money and trying to do a few trades every month. The trade cost will come down to $5.95 eventually, at which point you're getting absolute value for money out of Hargreaves and Lansdown. So hopefully this comparison was useful. Again, like I said, this is not a brand endorsement, not a paid video. I'm not endorsing the products because of that. It's just a personal preference, and I haven't seen a comparison like that being done anywhere, which is why I wanted to try and do a comparison like that. And for people who were making a decision like me, I was making a decision between going to Freetrade or staying with Hargreaves and Lansdown. I think this will probably be immensely useful for them. So if you find this video useful, please post your comments. Thank you.